What's going on, everybody? My name is Andrew, and today I want to talk to you guys about what to look for in a property that you're interested in flipping and how to do easy renovations. So let's get into that right now. Now, before we get started with this, I do want to remind everyone that we are currently hosting monthly free in-person networking events where we're going to be talking about all things real estate. We're going from property management to real estate investing, house flipping, renovations, all that kind of stuff. If you want to know more about it, make sure to check out the description below. We're going to leave some information about it. Make sure to join our Property Hustlers Facebook page so you can be updated on our monthly events. But now let's talk about how to find good properties in any kind of market and what you should be looking for if you're interested in flipping something. And we're talking about easy stuff, so let's get into it. Now, in order to explain what you should be looking out for, I want to use an example of a property that we've already been working on that we have been flipping ourselves and turns out was very, very easy. Anybody could do it. You don't need to know a lot, but let's explain why. This property is located in the Bayfront area of Hamilton. And the one thing about it is that you can see that it's generally very dated. It's not that it's spectacularly beat up in any fashion or form. It's just old. And old is actually what we're looking for. There is a typical approach that people refer to as lipstick on a pig.
This is called Crimson Sky. What do you think?
This is something that, while it might sound like you're just doing cheap renovations, these are actually things that people respond to. A lot of people, especially contractors, will look at properties with problems and say, I can fix just about anything. It doesn't matter what the problems is, foundation problems, underpinning, adding a new roof, or adding a new floor to the property, building a rear extension. This is just too much. You shouldn't be looking out for things like this. Buy solutions, don't be buying problems always. I know there's a saying, what problems equals profits, but do you really want to be constantly dealing with problems? You can be profitable without having crazy problems. Pick your problems sensibly. And what do I mean by that? As we look through this property, you'll be able to see some basic things. It has old kitchen, old bathroom. The layout is a little funky. It looks like it hasn't been painted in a century. You know, if you're looking at the floors, those are also old, and while they can be restored, you can choose what it is you want to do here. The steps are a little bit dated. You know, it's got that old fashioned, the ceilings, you know, the roofs, if you look at these, that plaster trowel thing going on there. And when you look at this, you might think, well, everything is old. How am I possibly going to make something like this look new? Well, it's actually relatively simple if you break it down into high-level items. Think about it. If I told you you had to renovate a house and you were simply going to do the following things, I was going to renovate the bathroom, renovate the kitchen, install new flooring, and paint the place, and maybe install pot lights. If I broke it down into just that, not even changing all the doors or the trims, just painting everything, the place is actually going to look pretty damn new and look like $1 million. You just look on Pinterest, a lot of places are showcasing very well like this, and if it's good enough for Pinterest or Instagram, you can potentially have a really great product. Now, let me show you what I mean by doing easy and simple renovations as from how it looks to what it looks like now. People tend to decide when they're flipping a property that they're going to focus all their financials on the inside of the property, and we're talking about upgrading those things we just mentioned, but what about the curb appeal? What about the outside of the property? The first thing when anybody drives by a property that they're going to notice is first the area, which is nothing much you can do about that. That's why location is very important. But one of the things that you're going to need to look at is what does the condition of the property look like? If the first impression of the property isn't good and you know the facade of the house just looks beat up, your expectations are not going to be that high going in. Now you can say, wow, we'll lower the expectations by the outside, but if you can't get them through the door to even see the beauty that's in the inside, how are you possibly going to sell the property, right? Whether you are looking for a deal to wholesale or looking for something that you can flip yourself, you still want to make sure that the process is relatively easy and broken down. But now let's talk about which renovations you ought to execute by level of priority, highest to lowest. In order to do this, you really want to think about the buyer that you're going to be targeting here, right? Whether you're selling an affordable property or you're selling a mid-tier to luxury property, you want to decide what type of renovations that buyer is going to want. First thing you're going to prioritize always is the kitchen. The kitchen is the place where most people congregate, and when people go into the home, they are going to be spending quite a lot of time in that kitchen. And the living room, there's not much to it, right? But the kitchen is something that is a hefty renovation item, and if you are going to focus funds, you ought to focus most of them there. So the kitchen is the first thing that you should do. The second thing you're going to focus on is the bathroom. And if you can do some things to the bathroom to make them look nice, it's a place where people go to become clean. You don't want somebody going in and thinking that this bathroom is not a clean space when they're supposed to go there to be clean. The third thing that is going to really bring a lot of things in the property together is actually flooring. A lot of properties, you're going to see that they have mismatched flooring throughout the entire property, whether people have been doing repairs to it for quite a while or what it is that they've been doing. You want to, if it's within your budget, to install new flooring throughout the property. You don't have to do anything complicated with this. If you want to do this cost effectively, you can just install the same vinyl floor flooring throughout the entire property. It really helps the cost down, and as a construction benefit, it makes the property lighter, because a lot of these homes, people don't realize that they weren't really designed sometimes for these really heavy product that people install on them, like heavy cements, heavy tiles, all these other things. But if you install vinyl, it actually keeps the home pretty light, and that's just a good thing to do. The fourth thing that you want to do, and whether or not you're paying for it or doing it yourself, is actually painting. Painting is the cheapest thing to do, so there's really no excuse not to do it, and it has the biggest effect on the overall look of the property. Some might say that this should be the first thing that you should do, but in terms of significant impact to the home, kitchen, bath, and flooring will make a huge difference over painting. The fifth thing you have to do, if it is in your budget, is to install new doors and trims. It just brings the property up that level. It's kind of like with cars where, you know, they have these subtle little differences and you can just tell it's that upper tier level. And the next thing you can do after that is windows. Windows is a higher ticket item. The turnover takes more time. However, it is very valuable to do if the budget permits. As you can see from this product that we've done here, this place looks great with the new windows. And as we move to the outside of the property, you can see that the property did look older before. All we did here was we painted the building and changed the windows, and the place looks phenomenal. The curb appeal is very important, because if you can't get your buyer through the door, they're never gonna see how great the work is that you've done inside. And the next thing you wanna do here is receptacles. Change the receptacles within your budget, and as you can see, if you can do that alongside with pot lights, right? Changing light fixtures is very important and also adds huge value. The problem with renovations, you might say, is like, well, it sounds like you're saying all these things are important, but where do you stop? Notice some of the things that we're not doing. By installing the pot lights onto the ceiling, actually makes the place look very modern. Even that old stucco ceiling with the troweling, you can't really tell. Now that you put the pot lights on and you painted the place, it looks like it's part of the charm, that old character charm, right? We didn't even change the pocket door style. We didn't open up walls, install new doors, new pocket doors here. Kitchen is nice, stainless steel appliances, backsplash looks good, white cabinets, standard stuff. We're not imposing too much of our own personal taste. You wanna create something that is pretty easy to work with. And the last thing I want to point out is that when you're deciding how to go about the design of these things, go with things that are easy. Some people just go straight white, and I think it's a little too much white, and some people go a little too dark. In my opinion, it's easy to go for white with black accents. It's an easy canvas for any buyer to go into and say, oh, I can liven this place up or darken it up as I prefer. And remember, you're not thinking for yourself, you're thinking for the buyer. So don't impose your own taste too much. So I hope this helps you out with generally how to go about finding a property to flip and what type of renovation you should do to make a successful flip happen. And in general, make sure to always look for problems that are not too complicated to solve. Don't bite off more than you can chew. So if you have any questions about this kind of thing, make sure to reach out to me. I'm going to leave some information about me in the description below. And as always, subscribe to this channel, like our video, and we'll see you on the next one.